In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you 7 of my best and worst foods and drinks for high blood pressure. And by the way, some of them you're never told about, so let's begin. Let's dive straight into tip number 1. I want to talk about green tea to begin with. A meta-analysis of 13 randomized controlled trials showed that having just 1 cup of green tea every single day helps lower your systolic and diastolic blood pressure. Not only that as well, it lowers your risk of coronary artery disease as well. Straight on to tip number 2, let's talk about beetroot juice. This is definitely gaining popularity. The theory behind it is beetroot juice is very high in nitrates. Your body converts it to nitric oxide, and nitric oxide basically dilates your blood vessels, which then lowers your blood pressure. This is kind of how a GTN spray works, for anyone who might know and heard of it, but a GTN spray is far more potent basically, so it massively dilates, but it all basically works through nitric oxide. Now, there still isn't enough scientific evidence out there to support beetroot juice for the lowering of blood pressure, okay? There are studies out there, there's quite a few of them, but they're on small numbers of people, so we need it on larger numbers of people. So I guess watch this space, because more evidence will be coming out. But don't look at beetroot juice as a standalone solution for blood pressure. Just consider it as one of your, lifestyle changes and something to add into your diet. Diving straight into tip number 3, let's talk about salt. A lot of us already know that salt increases your blood pressure, too much of it. And a lot of processed foods are loaded in it, okay? Now, the chemical compound for salt is sodium chloride. And it's this sodium that basically causes this water retention, so our blood volume increases and our blood pressure increases. And these processed foods, they're loaded with sodium because it basically makes them taste a lot nicer. It makes them a lot more palatable. Now, there's loads of different processed foods, okay? So I'm gonna have a list appear on screen, but try and cut down on these. If you're having any of these, studies have shown that just by cutting our sodium intake, our salt intake, we see marked improvements in blood pressure just in a couple of weeks. Straight on to tip number 4, let's talk about caffeine. You need to drink caffeine in moderation, okay? So no more than 4 cups a day, maximum, okay? The problem with caffeine is every time you drink caffeine, if this is your blood pressure, it spikes. And then you don't drink again, it comes down, and you have another cup and it spikes. And that just continues, okay? For about 3 hours, it can hold the blood pressure up. So studies have shown that having too much caffeine, or especially people who are caffeine naive and are drinking a lot of coffee, their blood pressure can go up quite high actually. So cut down on the caffeine intake. This isn't just saying, I'm not telling you to completely stop it, but 1, 2, 3 cups a day, okay? Try not to go more than that, so keep it in moderation. Moving straight on to tip number 5, we're gonna talk about whole grains, in particular oats, quinoa, barley. These are fantastic because they're soluble fibers, okay? And this has been linked to helping lower your blood pressure and cholesterol, by the way. And the reason for this is they kind of absorb sugar towards themselves, and this then leads to less insulin release, which is basically tied in with high blood pressure as well. So these can be beneficial to add into your diet. Tip number 6, let's talk about alcohol. We need to limit our alcohol intake, so no more than 14 units of alcohol per week. Too much alcohol basically affects our sympathetic nervous system, and this basically affects how our vasoconstriction and vasodilation happens, which basically, in a nutshell, it's going to increase your blood pressure. Also, too much alcohol can interact with medication as well. So if you are on blood pressure medication, it could reduce how well they work too. So the moral of the story is lower your alcohol to 14 units a week or less. Studies have shown that basically limiting your alcohol can lower your blood pressure massively. So next, I want to quickly talk about your blood pressure monitor, okay? And making sure that your blood pressure monitor is clinically validated for accuracy and on the validated device list, known as VDL, by the American Medical Association, Hypertension Canada, or British or Irish Hypertension Society, okay? Because believe me, a lot of the blood pressure monitors you can buy online on Amazon, for example, are not on the VDL list, so they're not accurate. And listen guys, when it comes to blood pressure monitors, I've been using the A&D medical blood pressure monitors in my very own practice for years, because 1, they're an absolute workhorse when it comes to blood pressure monitors, and 2, they're clinically validated by all of the organizations I've just spoke about, and this is through formal studies that they do. Now, to learn more about A&D Medical and their brilliant products, I will leave a link in the description below. A&D Medical, thank you for being our trusted sponsor. And straight on to tip number 7, let's talk about lean proteins, okay? Make sure that the protein you're eating is lean. So for example, skinless chicken, turkey, even beans, also fish, mackerel, salmon. These are wonderful, okay? They also help lower your cholesterol, but also they're gonna help lower your blood pressure as well. There was actually a study from the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, and it showed that higher fish intake can help lower your blood pressure. So having fish 2 to 3 times a week, the salmon, the mackerel, the oily fish, that is really good for blood pressure. And listen guys, if you want to dive deeper into managing your blood pressure, I do have loads more videos. One, for example, on how to use your blood pressure monitor properly. Another one on picking the right cuff size, because all of these can make a massive difference on the numbers that you get from your blood pressure, as well as more lifestyle tip videos that help lower your blood pressure. So definitely do check them out on the channel. And as always, sending awesome vibes.